I mean, look at this. It's a 9.69 carat, fancy vivid yellow VVS1 clarity diamond. Something like this, it serves as a great investment. It serves as lifetime value. This is $1 million diamond.
Welcome back to Heard on the Street, your source for what's really happening in the diamond and jewellery industry. My name is Heather Chambers, I'll be your host today, and we're brought to you by Shop LC and Rappaport. Let's meet our panellists. We have Ari Jain, CEO of the House of Diamonds, 8 generations in the diamond industry. Then we have Kerri Lavine, the Godmother of Diamonds herself, social media celebrity in the house. Next to me we have Senil Lakhani. He is president of Kieran Gems USA, the world's largest natural diamond manufacturer. To my right, Jeff Angel, head buyer of RDI Diamonds, the largest diamond wholesaler in the United States. And joining the panel today, we have guest panelist Angelo Palmieri, the president of GCal by Sarine. Welcome, Angelo.
Thank you.
In our next topic, we're going to be diving into origins. This section is brought to you by GCal by Sarine, the future of diamond grading. All right, so let's talk about origins. I want to know whether consumers, retailers care about where their stone came from. Now, we have the Kimberley process, so we can trace a stone right back to where we need to. But is it a problem where a diamond comes from?
Consumers do care about origin. Firstly, they care about it being natural. So that is the most important origin, that they want something real and natural. Secondly, if natural diamond industry participants can show the story, which they've done greatly with Botswana, and show how a full country is being powered by natural diamonds, consumers do care. A lot of our retailers ask us for origin, and certain customers prefer a certain origin because it adds to the story. And consumers do want to know they're helping people. They do want to know we're helping people in Botswana and South Africa. So origin definitely matters, but the main thing is I think they really want a real natural diamond. So
Right.
that origin, that it came out from the earth rather than a factory, is very important.
So I want to bring this over here to Jeff and Angelo. So when you're certifying stones, how often is the origin actually stated in that certificate?
But I think when we talk about origin, I think it's important to look, and everybody in this room has experienced over the last, let's say, 30 years. You think about all the different innovations in certification. What of that came from the consumer? Did any consumer beg for a cut grade 30 years ago? Were they begging for light performance 20 years ago? Every innovation in diamonds or jewelry comes from the industry, right? So if we're going to wait for a consumer to request a Botswana or a non-Russian diamond, I think that's going to take a long time. But I think what we've always as an industry felt is, hey, when we can come out with a new innovation, something different, something that speaks to them, something that I can sell and tell a story about, which is what luxury is about. It's storytelling.
I agree.
Right? So, you know, when cut grades came out, retailers embraced it because they said, hey, I can now show this is a superior diamond than this one, right? And be able to show that consumer and bring in good, better, best. And I think origin is the same thing. You talked eloquently about Botswana, right? And how it's being harmed and suffering economically. I don't know how many U.S. consumers could put it on a map, and I don't know how much it's talked about. But going to your question about how often origin is included in certification, very minimally. But there's a lot of obstruction from the industry that doesn't want it because it makes it harder. But if, let's say you sold somebody on Botswana, how available is it to find a truly traceable Botswana origin diamond in the market today if you were going to source it?
5 minutes.
You can find it in 5 minutes?
I literally just had
Yeah.
$1 million order that I found, so I think I can find one stone.
But I think
and it was all
retailers
needed to be from Botswana.
have to be able to
Tell the
source
story,
it,
yeah.
tell the story,
Yeah.
get that interest, and then be able to source it confidently.
The problem is some large manufacturers, which I shall not name.
Oh, are they on a
They
couch
seem,
nearby?
I don't want to talk about who's here, who's not. Some of them seem to mix their rough, and they don't give you origin. Some of them.
No, so
No.
do you think DBS, when we go buy rough from DBS, do they tell which mine it came from?
I think they
They
are
have
now.
some-
No,
say
no,
it's
no,
mixed.
no. They
They
can't
are
do
now.
that.
No,
They
on the whole
can't-
box they
and by
say
the way,
it's mixed.
if
Now
I'm not
when you
mistaken,
go and trace it one
Signet
by
won't
one,
buy
then
anything.
they give it.
Signet will not buy anything without origin, correct? That's a fact. So that's where they're
No,
going to
but-
put the standard.
Okay.
We're gonna
What
have to
if
follow
what
the
if I buy a rough from secondary market? It went through Kimberley.
That's the
That's
challenge.
the
but-
challenge,
So
yes.
there's no way to trace it back.
But however,
agree.
exactly down to the point.
There is though.
100%.
So my parent company, Sarine, has Diamond Journey, which I know you're familiar with. You guys, your
Yes.
factories are loaded with Sarine equipment. And through a partnership with Tracer, we now have the ability to scan a rough second market, if it came from De Beers, and be able to track it back to actually the mine that it came from. I mean, it's a new thing that Tracer has really gotten behind. De Beers has really gotten behind origin story. So that is
Yeah.
possible. The technology is there. I think it makes it harder, right? It makes it harder to source, makes it harder to supply a program. But I think origin has to be one of the stories going forward with natural
in the
diamonds.
retail end of it, I remember when the movie Blood Diamonds came out, it destroyed our business. It was destroying our business because right away everybody thought that everybody's getting murdered and killed in Sierra Leone
talked
and
about
all
this
over the
last
place
time,
for
yeah.
all this. And that movie did harm to our industry, and it opened up eyes to a lot of things. So I think ethically sourced diamonds is very key in having the Kimberley process and being part of that Kimberley process. Now, having said that, that's where sometimes people come in asking for a lab diamond because they think it's more ethically sourced. So I spend a lot of time educating people on the Kimberley process and what's the rights and the wrongs of that whole thing and full transparency. At the end of the day, every client has a right to purchase whatever they want to purchase. And you have to service them with what they want, whether they want it lab or they want it natural. But when somebody asks me about how do I know where I'm buying a diamond, you're right. With the Canadian diamonds, you used to say Canada, Divac,
Yeah.
the mines
Yeah.
are on there.
Yeah.
They're not putting that anymore. I think that there's been so much controversy that the emphasis on ethically sourced diamonds are basically happening the proper way today.
The majority of diamonds are ethically sourced.
Correct.
You cannot,
Yes.
I made a
Everything
joke.
is right.
Maybe they didn't
Everyone-
like the joke, but
Yeah.
literally, it's very hard to find a blood diamond. The good that the diamond industry does for Botswana and other nations. People think that they go in there and they don't. They help them build schools and hospitals, and it's roads and all the stuff they could never afford if they weren't getting diamonds out of the ground. And again, so nobody's perfect.
And these people deserve
But at least
to
they're
make money
trying
for
to make a
doing what they're
difference.
doing.
Well, and you guys mentioned the next generation, like a purchase with a purpose. Like that actually
That
I think is
exists. I
very
agree with you.
meaningful in the younger generation.
That I think the natural diamond industry needs to capitalize
Way better
on.
Yes.
job to do.
Show the story that you're helping so many people in
Right.
Botswana, in India, where 99% are cut there. Also, one more thing: if the origin is from a De Beers sort, which includes
They'll
several
name you
different
4 countries,
it's
No,
ethical.
but they changed that. They changed that a year and a half ago.
Oh, they did?
So anything 4 grain or up rough, they now will tell you the country that it came from.
Which is great.
It's
Even
18
better.
months
Yeah.
ago. And through Sarine's partnership with Tracer, it allows us to scan. You could scan a rough in your factory on a Sarine machine, and it will send that scan to match the De Beers scan through the Tracer API.
Yeah, we use
And it
Tracer.
will tell us, yes, this is the same one. This was mined in Botswana, and you now can start to manufacture that
that's
as
Oh
a
my
God,
verified,
that's great.
That's
verified Botswana.
unbelievable.
Origin does have a
So
premium
the
business because
technology has changed.
a lot of brands will not buy without origin. So I refuse to believe that origin doesn't matter because a lot of large brands need origin. They
Well,
need it.
And
And
this order was
every-
for a retailer, by the way,
Yeah.
and they only buy from Botswana.
Yeah, well, I mean, every United States retailer has to demand
By-
non-Russian rough,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? They
that
have
everybody
to.
does, yeah.
But as Jeff said, the sanctions and the lack of traceability has resulted in El Rosa having a record-breaking year. So China's not buying diamonds. U.S. is the largest market. You can't outperform as a miner if the U.S. market was shut off to you.
But if we
That's
were
what I
to
don't get.
only sell all the traceable roughs, there wouldn't be any industry anymore because there is no lack
Well, I
of
think-
diamonds
but,
in the industry.
But I think going from 0 to 100 overnight is not possible, right? Which is why even when Tracer and De Beers have started this with giving you the actual country instead of 4 countries, they started at carat and a halves and then carats, right? And working their way down. So everything has to be with the scale and the supply chain of our industry, everything has to be worked in over time.
It is an important question. A lot of the clients we encounter, they're more interested in the quality of the diamond. If the information's available, it's great to add that in there. People feel good about particular regions. Sometimes they want to support particular regions, or they feel better about certain regions. So if the information's available, it's good to offer that.
But talking about retailers, out of 10 retailers, I don't think for us even one retailer is asking for origin details or the trade.
It depends on the product.
Like a byproduct of this, right? If we're scanning the rough, we can actually create a resin replica of the actual rough diamond that polish came from. Right? So we have a very large customer in Japan that they actually present the rough with the polished, and the couples will actually gravitate to the rough they like. Yes, of course, that has to do with the final outcome of the polish.
Can I see?
Please.
We actually do that with some of our stones.
That's clearly
what size you want, what rough.
That's
we'll
only
cut
possible
it for you.
if you've traced that polish. That I can say this polish came from that rough.
What's really important of this is that only natural rough diamonds look like this.
Yes.
An octahedron.
Yeah. Lab-grown diamonds look completely flat.
Yes.
So
because they're growing them up.
It's the same. It's not the same. Natural rough diamond is going to look like this, even though it doesn't look like a diamond. It's going to be polished, and then
you're going to lose about 2/3 of that to make a stone, or half.
And you wouldn't be able to tell it's a natural. That's the whole beauty of natural diamonds. If someone saw this on the road, are they picking it up? No, they won't know what it is. So that's the whole beauty. We uncover sparkle, such beautiful
to
sparkle.
Get that from like 10,000 pounds of dirt.
We don't get enough credit, but we also need to tell our story much louder.
And countries run on this stuff.
Yeah.
This section was brought to you by Decal by Sarine, the future of diamond grading. Okay, let's crack on. We are going to be talking about natural diamond branding. Who wants to kick us off? This segment is sponsored by IGI, strengthening global trust in gemstone certification.
So, luxury has never been about only appearance. Luxury has always been all about the feeling. How you feel when you wear that 3 billion year old miracle of nature, that natural diamond. How you feel when so many hands have worked so hard to dig something 100 miles under the ground, then polish it beautifully, then hand set it into jewelry. This is all that you can only get in the aura of a natural diamond. Nothing will ever replace that story, and no product on earth will ever be that rare. But we do have to do a better job of reminding every one of our customers of that beautiful story, and that's all it takes. We have the best brand intrinsically, but let's just speak about it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How come luxury stores like Harry Winston and Tiffany's and Cartier, they're not promoting lab diamonds?
Because they don't need to.
If a diamond's a diamond, why isn't Tiffany carrying it?
But natural diamond promotes luxury, lab diamonds promotes economy.
Yes.
Affordability.
So those are two different
they're
things.
They're selling them in Walmart
Tiffany,
right now. Not that Walmart's bad. They're
luxury.
selling them.
Yeah.
But if you've been looking at the market now, a lot of lab-grown manufacturers are moving into tech. They know the end is near as a luxury product, and luxury is never accessible. I mean, look at this. I brought this to show everyone. It's a 9.69 carat, fancy vivid yellow VVS1
that's nice.
clarity diamond. So something like this, it serves as a great investment. It serves as lifetime value. This is $1 million diamond.
Is it an immediate investment? Like, within a couple of years, or are you talking 5-10 years down the line?
Yeah, for sure. So the thing is, fancy color diamonds have performed really well. In the last episode, I also told you a 5-carat blue-green diamond.
It's gorgeous.
Sold for double in a couple years.
40%.
But we are at a stage, where from here, the prices for those diamonds, if we are talking 10 years down the line, of course, you're going to get most of your money.
I mean, you hope, right? You can't predict that. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Somebody buys an engagement ring at retail, and they want to go sell it the next month because the engagement broke off. What percentage are they getting back?
Oh wait, if you bought it from, let's say we're wholesale, so we're with the store. You go back to the store, they're going to get exactly.
I'm talking about the consumer.
Then there are a lot of
Consumer is
people.
unfair to
Then there are a
everyone.
lot of people that tell their client, "We don't buy back."
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is terrible.
Yes.
Because you only care
it
about
erodes
the
the
first sale,
confidence.
But
and
it's
you
like a
that's
store.
right.
It's
Right.
like going to any store.
But
If I go to
there's many stores that
Costco,
do
there's a
buy back,
problem.
like
I know
her-
they're going to
So
take
I
it
can't-
back.
All used to buy back.
I can't buy back every diamond that I sell,
Right.
but what I do offer the client is, if you want to leave it with me for what you would like to get for it, I will leave it on a consignment and I'll
that's
sell it.
nice.
And I've sold 20 or 30 of them like
yeah,
that.
and think about any retailer that's selling lab grown in a big way today is not offering a buyback policy, right? So if the whole industry created liquidity in natural diamonds where you could potentially recover close to what you paid or some very high percentage, I think that starts to change the narrative, because then it feels like, okay, well, what I'm buying in lab, I could probably not realize anything. But in natural, right, there is a store of value.
I had a lady come in 50 years ago. Her father gave her mother an 8-carat emerald cut diamond. He paid $10,000 for it.
I think it's worth a little more.
We took it out. We sent it to the GIA. It got a GVVS too.
Wow.
Talk about
money.
big time money.
Huge appreciation.
So over 70 years, 80 years, that diamond went.
At GCal, you would have gotten VS1. I'm just letting you know.
At this point where we are standing right now with the whole diamond situation, with the whole natural diamond situation, I believe definitely we need some kind of a branding to bail out diamonds, basically. Diamonds, they lost that, illusion, basically, natural diamond that they always had since forever. There was nothing more valuable. This has been something that generations and generations, this was the jewel of the world. This was the one of a kind. And just because there was a new lab grown that came to effect, I don't think it should be less valuable, because it's not going to be more of it. It's just a certain amount of diamonds in the world. But it needs that attention, and it needs to be such a way that people realize that there's a huge difference between the natural and the lab. And right now the market, it kind of got it mixed, that it's almost the same. It is not almost the same. It's completely two different things.
So we've heard some great things about the higher end of the industry, especially from Ari, who deals specifically in 3 carats plus. But I've got questions for Senil, for example, about how all this affects people who are buying the smaller diamonds, perhaps actually younger consumers, millennials, Gen Zs, getting their first diamond. What are you seeing here?
So today, given the prices what they are right now, it's a no-brainer to buy all these sizes, 30 to 1 carat, 1.5 carats, because prices this cheap was never before. We are talking about the prices from the 90s to thousands. So imagine, guys, 26 years later,
Buying
you
a
are
house
still
from
getting
2000s,
the price from 2000. So of course, it's a great value to buy. And of course, the smaller diamonds, 30s, 40s, 50s, 70s, these are the things that is bread and butter for America. Not everyone can afford to buy all this high-end stuff, $1 million, $500,000. This is something we tell somebody that we love you with a special $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 category.
And that's part of the diamond branding story, is that security of knowing that you've got a certification behind your stone. That makes buying diamonds such a safe thing for consumers to do.
And it's an everyday product,
Peace of
it's
mind.
a happy birthday, you can gift a 50-pointer. Every birthday, every anniversary, you cannot give like $500,000.
There's a lot of stores, people start with quarter carats for the babies, and they go all the way up, right?
Even studs today, you could do
Yeah.
30 points each in a stud, and they
Yeah.
could be
They're
certified
actually good
studs
sellers.
from either your company or the
Yeah.
GIA.
Well, and that's what Jeff's
Yes.
company at RDI is doing. They created this Rare and Forever brand, and part of it was about differentiation, right? So this is above and beyond what GIA would look at, right? So we're screening for brown tints, for certain dark inclusions, there's certain cut specifications, but
Light
this is
performance
something,
with
yeah,
it,
light
yeah.
performance as well. And so this is something that is taking it to the next level.
This section has been brought to you by IGI, strengthening global trust in gemstone certification.
It's like there's glass between us, crystal on the table, but we don't hear a sound. Dripping in the diamonds, touching velvet walls, yeah, we're so dressed down. There's glass between us, it hurts.
Next up, we're going to be talking about geopolitical uncertainty. This segment's brought to you by Brightco, your modern jewellery insurance provider. So, on the subject of geopolitical uncertainty, the last few years have been rough on us all. We've been dealing with oil prices, wars, tariffs, inflation. COVID was not so long ago. All of these things have been a maelstrom of chaos for the gemstone industry. Prices have been all over the place. Some have persevered, some have done well anyway. So let's go ahead and just start off with Kerri on this one. I feel like you've bucked the trend massively here because the industry is going through something.
The industry is going through a lot, but I'm not feeling it. We're not feeling it. And that's because I think of my social media platform. I'm educating people. We're telling people what the right thing is, how to buy a diamond, what to purchase. We're transparently telling them all the rights and the wrong. all the rights and the wrongs of our industry. And I just want to, my claim to fame is just being known for the educator, for the best consumer out there. That's what I want to be known for. I want to be able to be my authentic self and just and just educate everybody on what's right. And for me, it's all about the natural diamonds. It's always been about natural diamonds for me. I think that the tariffs have hurt a lot of what's happening here. The tariffs are huge, but I do see a big comeback, and I just want to be the person out there that just helps everybody, understands it, and just educates everybody on what's right and wrong.
So Kerri's absolutely the outlier on this one. So let's talk about problems that we've had related to the current market conditions. I feel like I'm feeling something over here. What have you got to bring to the debate, Senil?
Of course, the most major thing we are facing right now is fuel costs because of, rising oil prices. And when fuel goes up, everything becomes expensive. Inflation becomes crazier. Transport, all the necessary stuff goes up. So of course, the pricing of jewelry, the production, the transportation.
I mean, a lot of gems are cut in India, so that's a big distance to cover.
And of course, with tariffs, it's not easy to bring the diamonds here as well. So logistically, it's very tough right now.
I have a question for you on this, because your Prime Minister just announced massive increase in tariffs on gold and silver, right? And I think I read that he is asking all of India to not purchase gold jewelry for the next year.
Right.
Cut back on travel.
Yep.
Right. Work from home if you can to conserve fuel because the rupee is at an all-time low. So what do you guys think? And then I saw also restrictions on the amount of gold you can bring into foreign trade zones like SEEPs, where basically all of our country's jewelry is made. Yes. So maybe speak about like what's going to happen with.
So
with
India
this,
as a country is a net importer.
Right.
We do more imports rather than exports. So because of lack of exports, our rupee is falling down. Right. So when the rupee falls down, the economy itself hurts because we are not exporting goods enough.
Trade deficit.
So now trade deficit. So now what our Prime Minister did is he urged. It's not a compulsion. He urged everyone to try to help the economy. Because
so buy more locally, like buy
more locally. Don't like.
Well, you guys have a huge market, right?
Yeah, it is. But
you have 1 billion people.
But he's trying to turn off the import of
Some
gold.
of the highest luxury spenders too.
But gold is, we have to import it. So our currency is going out at a higher rate of 96 rupee, which is now it's been inflated 12% in the last 18 months.
I think the concern is will we see a drop in the amount of jewelry exports and production if these restrictions on gold imports actually happen? I mean, all of America's gold jewelry is made.
That's not true.
Yes. A lot of it.
Majority. Can't say
there are the majority. Now that India SEEPs is involved, yes, it will increase the cost.
More is made in India than in China.
RDI is not going to have a shortage because you make your jewelry here.
We make it here. So we don't have to deal with all that tariffs. We don't have to deal with all the headaches.
Yeah.
It's a little more expensive. It's a little more, time consuming at times, but it's better for us.
The price of the watches went up directly after the tariff program that Trump wanted to apply. So because most of the watches come from Hong Kong, Japan, you have also sometimes it comes from Europe. So there were like a big effect inside the cost of the watches. And also the demand went higher, and we have like issue right now to source watches in general. It's like everything went up, so our margin went the same, but the watch market went up because of the tariffs.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect luxury. People who has money, they have more money. Even if it's a different game. Maybe it can affect other people, but in luxury, usually, even if the price goes up, people are still buying. We still have the demand.
But this segment has been brought to you by Brightco, your modern jewellery insurance provider. And now for our rapid fire round. This segment is supported by SimStar. Discover exceptional natural diamonds meticulously sourced for tireless elegance. Okay, so we're going to take this one around the room. Let's start with Ari.
So I would say if we want to brand our industry better, each one of us has to get on social media, like Kerri, who has a great presence there, and talk up our product. It's the best product Earth has to offer us. We need to really show the magic, the glory, the beauty of it. And once we all do that, we have a shot to improve our industry. Otherwise, you can't keep hoping for De Beers to carry the load because they're struggling. They're having so many problems and so many mines are closing down. The miners are no longer going to be the greatest marketers that they used to be. So we all have a role. If we want to sell natural diamonds at a good price, get on social media and tell your story, because every single eyeball is there. I've seen every age group. They're all obsessed with their phones. They're all on Instagram. They're on TikTok. If you want to reach eyeballs, get on social media, do some paid marketing. You'll help the industry.
Okay, same question for Kerri. What's not working in branding?
I agree with what you just said. I think that I think the way of the world right now is a social media effect, and we have to try to take this to a whole new level. Life is changing, times are changing, so I think that social media is a very great and a free platform to brand your own self and your own products. And if you can't brand your own products, brand them with people like us. Take me, for example. Let me have a company come to me and let me be an ambassador for their company and do something big to show the world out there that this particular branded diamond, the Ashoka cut, the Chris cut, or whatever, bring the diamonds, bring it to the social media platform, and let us try to work it all together. And let's build this industry back to where it was, back in the days where Billy Goldberg, William Nelkin, all the old-time guys that came here and started with this industry, and bring it back to what it was back in the day. Those were the guys. Those are my mentors.
Okay. Today's inspirational speech. Okay, I like it. Same question, what's not working in branding?
So I believe everyone is trying to, market themselves or their company, or like as we discussed before, it's only category marketing, but we need to be unified as one. Like 2-3 years back, if Rapaport knows, we did a video for natural diamonds, maybe Jeff knows. So it was our piece from a wholesale company to create such marketing campaigns. If as an industry everyone does bits and pieces of content to promote it to the end consumers, maybe one day it will reach to everyone, but the industry has to have one voice that we stand back behind natural diamonds.
Okay. Same question over here to Jeff.
I think, listen, we try to spend a fair amount of time and money advertising and in social media, but they don't leave it to me. Much younger people than me, thank God, that do that. But I think, as Senil said and Ari, that we need to come a little bit more unified and find a way to somehow have the I know we all have kind of common message. We're trying to sell quality diamonds and we're trying to sell, be honorable, all this stuff, of course. But I think as an industry, I wish there was somehow we could just, as you said, maybe connect more with people like you, find a way to get people to understand that when they're buying a diamond, regardless from who they're buying it from, they're getting good quality, good value, and nobody's getting hurt buying that diamond. I wish we could find a better way of doing that. I think that would help everybody's business.
Yeah. Same question for Angelo. Yeah. What's not working in branding?
So, I think for as long as I've been in industry, everybody's wanted to have one voice. And I think it's a great aspiration, but I think it's really challenging at the end of the day. So I think that I think there's a lot of companies that do great branding of themselves. I think there are other companies that brand but really have nothing behind it, right? There's no meat on the bones. So whether it's origin that we've talked about today, really getting into that. We have a cut grade GCal 8X that's the highest achievement in cut for standard shapes. There's a lot of companies that are now embracing that and delivering only the best in cut. I think my marketing would be better spent just bringing you all my products and begging you to talk about it on camera. But I think that people have to offer true differentiation, right? And there's a lot of different ways. I don't think there's no answer of what exactly it is that will rekindle this magic of natural diamonds for people. But I think there's a lot of tools that the industry has, but I don't see many people taking risks or really trying something different, right? Maybe just a little bit of a twist. But I think we need to bring true differentiation to the diamonds, which was, when I started over 20 years ago, that was really, I think the diamond industry was really heavy into proprietary cuts and different things that brought out different qualities and values that somebody could get behind and sell. And so I think that's where it needs to head.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been watching Heard on the Street with Rappaport and Shop LC. I'm Heather Chambers. I've been your host today. I need to say a huge thank you to our panel who have been amazing. Please like and follow this video and look for these guys on social media as well. And you can wade in too. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much, guys.